Motorhome dealers are fighting for survival.
While the regulation wouldn't outright ban RVs in California.
She says she signed the dotted line to get a good deal being offered.
And the meltdown is hitting now. Inventory is stacking up, loans are crushing profits, and prices are collapsing week after week. That discount on your local dealer's website, it's not a deal, it's a warning sign. The pandemic boom created a mountain of debt, and interest rates just lit the fuse. If you own a motorhome or plan to buy one, this is the moment to pay attention, because what's coming next could rewrite the entire motorhomes market. This isn't just a sale. Dealers across the country are cutting prices that once would have seemed impossible. Brand new motorhomes, some stickered at $180,000, are now being listed near $120,000. These are not sales, and they are not incentives. They are acts of survival. Inventory reports show hundreds of unsold units sitting for months, while banks still collect interest on everyone. You can see it for yourself. Dealer websites quietly adjusting prices each week. Small price drop tags replacing sold banners. The discounts look generous, but the motivation is fear. Every day those rigs sit, the dealer pays more interest and loses more margin. When sales stop, the bills do not. That is why you are seeing deep cuts even before summer ends. The industry calls it a correction. It feels more like surrender. But price cuts are only the symptom. To understand why this collapse began, you have to look back to the years when buyers couldn't get enough of these machines. The pandemic boom that built the bubble. When the lockdowns hit in 2020, travel stopped and restlessness grew. People still wanted freedom, but airports and hotels felt risky. The motorhome became the escape vehicle of choice. Dealers sold out in weeks, manufacturers doubled shifts, and waiting lists stretched 6 months. It felt like a permanent lifestyle shift, not a temporary craze. Families spent savings and stimulus money chasing mobility, convinced they were investing in independence. But that surge was built on panic, not planning. By 2021, orders had tripled while genuine long-term demand only rose a fraction. Prices climbed 40%, and production lines expanded beyond reason. What looked like prosperity was actually overextension. When the world reopened, many new owners faced rising fuel costs, higher insurance, and payments larger than expected. The dream deflated, but factories kept shipping units to meet phantom backlogs. That overproduction turned into the debt dealers are drowning in today, and it all starts with how those lots are financed. If you've seen prices drop at your local dealer, or noticed empty showrooms where there used to be lines, drop a comment below. Hit that like button. It helps push this story out to more buyers before they get blindsided. The floor plan trap. Here's the truth most buyers never hear. Those rows of gleaming motorhomes at your local dealership, they don't belong to the dealer. They belong to the bank. It's called floor plan financing, and it's how nearly every showroom operates. The lender fronts the cost of each unit, and the dealer pays interest until it sells. When the market was booming, inventory moved fast, and interest costs stayed low. Now, every unsold coach bleeds money by the day. Some dealers pay roughly $70 per motorhome per day in finance charges. Multiply that by 100 rigs, and the monthly bill becomes crushing. The longer they hold, the deeper they sink. And banks have started tightening terms, raising interest rates, demanding more collateral, even repossessing unsold stock. Dealers once treated floor plan credit like free fuel. Now, it's the weight dragging them under. And while that pressure builds behind the showroom doors, the physical lots themselves are starting to look more like storage yards than sales floors. When lots become warehouses. Walk any major dealer lot today, and you'll see the pattern instantly. Lines of unsold motorhomes stretching row after row, grass growing around tires, window stickers curling in the sun. What should be a display floor has turned into a parking lot of frozen capital. The average motorhome now sits more than 100 days before sale, double the time from 2 years ago. Dealers are running out of space, and worse, out of cash. They are shuffling units between lots, disguising stagnation as movement, and quietly begging lenders for extensions. Every extra week adds thousands in carrying costs. Buyers walking in see big red discount banners, not realizing those markdowns are forced by mounting storage and interest expenses. What happens next is predictable. Dealers ship excess inventory to wholesale auctions just to clear balance sheets. That's where the real bloodletting begins. Because once these motorhomes hit the auction lanes, the true collapse of value becomes visible for everyone to see. Rate shock hits the buyer's wallet. Only a few years ago, financing a motorhome felt manageable. In 2021, The average loan for a mid-range coach sat near 4.5% interest. That meant a payment around $500 a month on a typical $70,000 loan. Today, that same loan is closer to 9%, pushing the monthly cost to $830 or more. Nothing about the motorhome changed, only the cost of borrowing. Banks have tightened their standards, demanding higher credit scores and larger down payments. Buyers who once qualified easily are now being turned away, leaving dealers with inventory they can't move. The result is a chain reaction. Without easy credit, fewer sales close. Without sales, floor plan debt piles up. Dealers are forced to slash prices just to trigger a transaction. The industry's entire engine depends on cheap money, and that fuel is gone. With retail, buyers stepping back, dealers turn to the one place where truth can't be hidden: the auction block. Auction lanes. Tell the truth. Auctions don't care about marketing, brand loyalty, or sales talk. They care about bids. And right now, those bids are brutal. Wholesale prices for Class A motorhomes have fallen between 35 and 50% from their 2022 highs. Coaches that once brought $140,000 are now selling closer to $80,000, sometimes even less. Those numbers ripple outward instantly. Banks that use auction results to set collateral values start revising their loan ceilings. Dealers see their balance sheets shrink overnight. It becomes a cycle of shrinking confidence. Every low sale drags the next one lower. The auction lanes are where desperation shows up first, and lately they're packed. Rows of units from repossessions, failed dealerships, and liquidation sales flood through every week, and behind every one of those units is a lender trying to recover losses. But auctions are only half the story. There's another wave swelling behind them, used motorhomes pouring into the market faster than anyone expected. The used motorhome flood. 3 years of overbuying has come full circle. The families who jumped into the motorhome lifestyle during lockdowns are now stepping out, and they're all trying to sell at once. Lease returns from 2020 and 2021 are arriving back on lots. Rental companies are unloading fleets that sat idle through slower travel seasons. Banks are repossessing units after missed payments. Each category adds thousands of used motorhomes to an already saturated market. Listings on major sites have tripled since last year, and prices are sliding to match. Private sellers face a reality check when buyers waive recent auction data to demand steep discounts. Dealers, buried in new stock, don't want trade-ins at all. What used to be a seller's market has flipped completely. Supply now overwhelms demand, and values are sinking faster than most owners can adjust. And when markets flood with used inventory, not everything that reappears is safe or sound. Some of it should never have come back at all. The rise of zombie motorhomes. Hidden among the liquidation sales and trade-ins are what insiders call zombie motorhomes. They look fine: shiny paint, clean carpets, fresh polish. But inside, they carry damage that no warranty will fix. Many are flood-damaged units from hurricanes and storms, dried out, retitled, and sold again. Others sat abandoned through harsh winters, allowing mold, corrosion, and rot to spread unseen. With so many transactions happening fast, inspection standards have slipped. Dealers under pressure skip full checks. Auction buyers flip rigs without knowing the history. Some vehicles have titles washed clean in other states, erasing their damage record entirely. For the unsuspecting buyer chasing a deal, it's a financial trap. Repairs can exceed the purchase price, and safety systems may already be compromised. The danger isn't cosmetic, it's mechanical, structural, and sometimes life-threatening. And as these hidden problems spread, they reveal how deep the crisis really runs. Because the collapse is no longer about price, it's about trust. When luxury falls first. The collapse always starts at the top. $250,000 diesel pushers that once symbolized success are now listed near $160,000, sometimes even less. These were the crown jewels of the motorhome world: custom interiors, full-size kitchens, and air suspension rides built for comfort and bragging rights. But high-end buyers have vanished. Rising fuel costs, higher interest rates, and falling stock portfolios have frozen that market. Dealers holding premium inventory are slashing prices just to move a single unit and free up capital. Owners who financed during the boom now owe more than their motorhomes are worth. The depreciation curve they thought would level off has turned into a nosedive. Once luxury collapses, it drags the rest of the market with it, resetting expectations for every segment below. What began as a high-end correction is becoming a full market reckoning. And while the luxury lines crumble, another divide is emerging, one that splits not by price tag, but by geography. If you want honest breakdowns the dealers won't give you, numbers, proof, and timing that protects your wallet, subscribe right now. I'll keep tracking the next wave before it hits your market, so you're always one move ahead. City shock, country aftershock. In major metro areas, the collapse hit early. City dealers rely heavily on walk-in traffic and financing, both of which vanished when interest rates climbed. To survive, they cut prices first, advertising record markdowns just to get buyers through the door. Rural dealers, meanwhile, believed they were safer. Motorhomes are part of the culture outside the cities, tied to work, travel, and recreation. For a while, sales held steady, but as credit tightened and buyers pulled back, even small-town lots began to fill. When a rural dealer slows down, the impact spreads fast. Service centers lose business. Parts suppliers see fewer orders. Local mechanics and campground owners feel the pinch. What started as a city slowdown has become a rural recession, taking jobs with it. Towns built around manufacturing and dealership traffic are now facing layoffs and closures. Those visible slowdowns on main streets are symptoms of something deeper, the real financial rot hiding inside dealership accounting books. Inside the books. Dealer numbers under fire. Open the balance sheets, and the picture is worse than the sales floor suggests. Public filings from several national dealer groups show profit margins down nearly 30% from last year. Floor plan interest costs are up more than 40%. Insurance, utilities, and transportation costs continue to rise, while gross revenue declines. Dealers that once cleared millions are now scraping to break even. Many are borrowing just to cover their own debt payments, taking short-term loans to float inventory until summer. That kind of financial juggling can't last. Creditors are already shortening payment terms, and late fees are mounting. The math does not lie. Every day inventory sits unsold, the cost of carrying it grows. When those quarterly reports go public, investors and suppliers lose confidence, pulling more money out of the system. The numbers reveal what words can't. The industry is bleeding cash, and that bleeding doesn't stop at the dealership level. It pushes straight upstream to the factories that kept building even as the orders slowed to a crawl. The bullwhip back to manufacturers. Manufacturers once celebrated the boom as proof of endless demand. They expanded production, added shifts, and opened new plants. Now they're paying for that optimism. Shipments remain high because contracts take months to unwind, but retail sales have collapsed. That mismatch creates what economists call the bullwhip effect. Small drops in demand at the consumer level become massive slowdowns at the factory. Plants that built 20 motorhomes a day last year are cutting to 12 or fewer. Overtime has vanished, and temporary workers are being let go by the hundreds. Supply vendors are reducing orders, and transport companies are parking trailers instead of hauling them. Each step back through the supply chain spreads the shock wider. What began as a buyer hesitation is now a manufacturing crisis. Yet in the middle of this storm, one group quietly gains leverage: buyers who still have cash in hand. And that shift in power is where the next chapter begins. Because when financing dries up, cash becomes the only language dealers understand. Cash buyers take the wheel. For years, dealers held all the leverage. Financing was easy, and buyers followed the rates. But in a collapsing market, power changes hands. Today, the strongest position anyone can hold is liquidity. Cash buyers have become the dealer's last lifeline, the only group that can close a deal without a lender's approval. A buyer who walks in with verified funds can demand 10 to 15% below the listed price and still have dealers rushing to sign. They know clearing a single motorhome frees thousands in daily interest costs. Cash does more than buy. It rescues. But there is a risk to rushing. Jump too early, and you catch a market still falling. Wait too long, and the best inventory disappears. The key is not just having cash, it's knowing when to strike. Timing mistakes can erase every advantage in a heartbeat. So how do you recognize the perfect moment to buy without getting trapped by a temporary discount? The answer lies in learning to read the bottom. Reading the bottom without getting burned. Markets do not ring a bell when they hit the floor, but if you know what to look for, the signals are clear. Watch auction clearance rates first. When dealers start accepting nearly every bid just to unload stock, the bottoms is close. On retail lots, listen for coded language. Phrases like "must go," "final markdown," or "no reasonable offer refused." Those aren't slogans, they're distress calls. At that stage, dealers care less about profit and more about survival. But cheaper does not always mean safer. Units sold during a panic may skip inspections or carry hidden water damage. Buyers see a bargain and forget that desperation can hide flaws. The smart move is patience mixed with proof. Wait for 2 consecutive months of stable prices before committing. The real floor is not when prices stop dropping. It's when dealers stop pretending they are fine. Once you can spot the real bottom, the next step is protecting yourself from the traps that come with it, and that begins with a survival protocol. The buyer's survival protocol. In a market flooded with risk, discipline matters more than luck. Before buying any motorhome, insist on a third-party inspection. Never trust the dealer's checklist. Ask for a full moisture scan, not just a quick visual once over. Hidden water damage ruins more rigs than accidents ever have. Trace the title through every previous registration to ensure it hasn't been reissued in another state. A washed title is a warning sign. Demand every promise in writing, from warranty coverage to delivery dates, and never pay in full until documentation matches the deal. If the price feels too good, assume there is a reason. Good buyers treat paperwork like insurance. It protects you when the seller disappears. In these next 90 days, caution is not paranoia, it's survival. The smartest deals will go to those who verify every claim before signing anything, because the next 3 months will test every buyer's resolve. The window between panic and opportunity is narrow, and knowing when to act makes all the difference. 90 days to survive the meltdown. The final stage of this market crash is unfolding now. Inventory continues to climb as manufacturers push leftover units through the system. Interest rates remain stubbornly high, and dealers are running out of patience. Between late winter and early spring, desperation will peak. That 90-day window will be the moment when values reach their lowest point before stabilizing. Buyers who stay calm, verify titles, and negotiate with cash will capture once-in-a-decade deals. Those who rush or finance too soon will inherit another man's problem and years of payments on a depreciating asset. The message is simple: stay patient, trust data, and move only when the proof aligns. This market rewards the informed, not the impulsive. So, before you sign anything, make sure the numbers truly add up. The motorhomes market isn't just cooling, it's collapsing in real time. Dealers are drowning, prices are falling, and the next 90 days could decide who survives this meltdown. So, what are you seeing in your area? Are local dealers cutting prices or still holding the line? Drop a comment below, and let's compare what's happening on the ground. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like, tap subscribe, and turn on notification, because the next wave of this story is coming fast, and you'll want to be ready when it hits.